We are getting you ready for week one in the SEC. We'll chat with longtime analyst Charles Arbuckle. We will recap Bo Pribula's nice debut at Mizzou and the debut of our celebrity guest picker segment. You won't want to miss that. Locked On SEC starts right now.
You are Locked On SEC, your daily podcast on the Southeastern Conference. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And what's up, everybody? Welcome into Locked On SEC. It's great to have you guys along. I'm Chris Gordy. Thanks for making us your first listen every day. Shout out to our everydayers. We're free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, covering your team every day. And today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use our code LOCKEDONCollege, get $20 off your first purchase. All right, let's dive into it because Mizzou, we got to see them in action last night for the first game action of the SEC season. And yeah, it was Central Arkansas. I get it. Not the sexiest of matchups, but we had a quarterback battle. Bo Pribula got the start in this one, and we were supposed to be seeing Sam Horn. Now, originally, the report said both guys were going to get a half. Well, that didn't turn out to be the case. In fact, Sam Horn came in the second quarter, early in the second quarter, and on the first play that he saw action, got hit. And, man, limped off the field, running the football, lower body injury, got hit on the lower leg and needed to be helped off the field. And so it was not good for Sam Horn, a guy who's been waiting his chance, competing for this job, just got drafted by the Dodgers in the MLB draft. But nonetheless, it became the Bo Pribula show. And early in the game, I mean, it was a 51-yard touchdown early to Marquise Johnson. Pribula showing off his legs as well, had a 31-yard rushing touchdown in the second quarter. Was a scary play, though, on a 4th and short. This is after Sam Horn was already, helped off the field. Bo Pribula got hit, his helmet knocked off. Matt Zollers, freshman, had to come in and take a snap where he handed off. But really good showing from Bo Pribula. Now, look, there's some protection issues. He took some sacks. The offensive line for Mizzou, they got to get that cleaned up. But like what we saw from him, not the best rushing attack from Ahmad Hardy, all the highly touted. I mean, look, I was building this guy up all offseason. I think he'll get going more and more as the season goes along, but he was bottled up a little bit early. Shout out Blake Craig, 55-yard field goal. That was very impressive. I mean, what is it about Missouri? They always have good kickers. We had Mevis a couple years ago, and now Blake Craig nailing a 55-yarder. That is very impressive. And then Kevin Coleman, the transfer from Mississippi State, showing off his wheels, had a long run, catch and run. So, yeah, there's a lot of good. There's a lot of good for Mizzou to build off of here. Jamal Roberts also, I think, in the backfield, showing his wheels on top of Ahmad Hardy. So, but end of the day, good debut from Bo Pribula. I think, look, we'll wait to get the official word on Sam Horn. It's probably already out by now, but we're doing this before the game is even over here for Mizzou. But we'll wait to get the word on that. But it looks like it's Bo Pribula's show. And look, liked what you saw, pass with flying colors. All right, one other note here. Did want to pass along some news coming out of LSU last night that one of their big safeties, transfer safeties in AJ Haulcy, coming over from the University of Houston. Going back to December 4th of last year, Houston playing their last game against BYU in the final minutes. BYU scored to go up 3 scores. AJ Haulcy gets in a tussle with another guy. He throws a punch. He gets ejected. Well, apparently, because of that ejection, it carries over into this year. He's going to miss the first half of the Clemson game. Crazy to be finding this out 48 hours before the LSU-Clemson game. I mean, my goodness, who was in charge of monitoring suspensions carrying over from last year? Well, apparently the NCAA didn't even really know about it. It took Clemson bringing it to the NCAA's attention, and the NCAA calling LSU and going, look, our hands are tied here. Your guy's out for the first half. So got to think that, look, Dabo Swinney looking for any kind of edge he can get. But if you're LSU, AJ Haulcy, one of your stud transfer safeties coming over in the offseason, not going to be available for the first quarter, or first half rather, suspended for the first half at Clemson. Real quick before we get to our guests, because we got a loaded show, let's take a look at the betting lines for this weekend. We got Auburn at Baylor. Tonight, we are going to take Auburn. We're going to take Auburn minus the 2.5. We're rolling with Hugh Freeze. Don't burn us, Hugh Freeze. Texas at Ohio State. Look, Texas getting points with that defense, with that run game. Forget Arch Manning. It's all the other pieces. I'm going to take Texas plus the points. LSU at Clemson, same thing. I'm taking LSU plus the points. Too much talent on LSU to lose big. And then Alabama, we're going to take them minus it's a typo there, minus 13.5 at FSU. Tennessee, we're going to take them minus the 13.5 against Syracuse. And Mississippi State, don't burn a state. Come on, Blake Shapen. I'll take them minus the 13.5 at Mississippi State. So kind of a dud there. I know it's the favorites. I know it's all the betting lines. But, of course, FanDuel, those are the latest lines from our friends over at FanDuel. All right, without further ado, let's kick it over. Our buddy Charles Arbuckle, going to sit down with him, preview some of the SEC matchups this weekend. Run along here, Locked On SEC, and a pleasure now to welcome in this guy, a former tight end, a Texas native, played his college ball at UCLA, was drafted by the New Orleans Saints in 1990, played several seasons in the NFL. He's gone on to be a longtime college football analyst. He'll be on the call this Saturday in Nashville, calling Charleston Southern versus Vanderbilt on ESPN Plus alongside Kevin Fitzgerald. He is Charles Arbuckle. Buck, welcome in, man. How are you?
I'm good, man. How are you guys?
Doing great, man. You got to love this time of year. About to head into week one. Everybody's undefeated. Optimism is abound. What excites you most about this time of year?
Well, I mean, you just said it. Everybody thinks they have a chance. And I think what it does is it also gives fan bases an opportunity to be enthusiastic. You know, I think that's the part for me that I always like going into the season because, you know, everybody is undefeated. And all the things have not started from a negativity standpoint. But what it also does is, you know, for college, it's interesting because I'm calling some NFL games. I've always done that, but doing more this year. Got a chance to see the Colts preseason. And that's the difference with college, man. You don't have a preseason. You don't have, you know, joint practices. So this is your first time to see what you really have. And if you're starting off like Texas and Ohio State, you got to be ready for game one. Well, Charleston Southern for Vandy has an opportunity to at least see what they have and what they look like.
Yeah, that's what's always fun this time of year is, you know, you got some teams that come, you know, flying out of the gates with a big dog, and then some teams get a little bit of a warm-up game, kind of dip the toe in the water. So I want to get your thoughts on some of the games. So let's start with your game. You'll be calling Vandy with a game against Charleston Southern. Heavy favorites, obviously, but Diego Pavia getting another year of eligibility. Your thoughts on him coming back? Because I think as fans, look, if he's playing our team, we hate him. But just watching him, he's a fun player to watch.
He is. I mean, and it's funny when you talk to the coaches and you look at what he did last year. I got a good chance to spend some time with Clark Lee about a month or so ago. I was in Nashville, and went by and had lunch with him. So I didn't even know I was going to be calling games, but I've known him for a number of years. But the one thing that struck me the most is about what they did over the offseason. You know, and he kept just saying, you know, we didn't win enough games last year. I mean, we can talk about what we thought we were, all of those things. And I think that's the mantra that I've heard from all of his group. I'll get the chance to sit down with him and some of his players tomorrow late afternoon to kind of just really dive in even more. But I think that was the biggest thing that I learned about that. But with Diego Pavia, everybody to a person on the Charleston Southern team, when we talked to their defense, talked about stopping him is really critical. And teams haven't been able to do that. On his 21 scrambles, I think he had 9 or 10 touchdowns. So he becomes even more accurate and active when you get him out of the pocket and you force him into throwing the ball down the field. Now, he will make some throws across the field and across his body, but he has got a supreme confidence in his ability. And I'll tell you, he throws a really nice deep ball. And I think that's the one thing they worked on this year with him, taking less hits so he could be fresher later in the season. Yeah, you saw after they beat Alabama, teams started to key in on him, and that took him away from being at his best. LSU were able to beat them because they just couldn't manufacture enough offense in LSU. I think Nussmeier is going to be an outstanding player this year. I got to watch some tape of that. But I think at the end of the day, this team feels like they're more explosive on the edge. They feel like with, you know, Cedric Alexander, another native Texan out of Austin, who's a really good player, really smart player. But I think they're really happy with what they've done in the trenches. That was the one thing that Clark Lee, Coach Lee talked about, but also just as you read or watched them, they really feel like their offense and defensive line are going to be really good.
Yeah, it's the other part is the defense, like you said. I mean, like bringing back as many pieces as they did. We got to talk to Martel Hight and Randon Fontenette at SEC Media Days, and I mean they bring back a lot of that defense. So I mean it's kind of scary if they take their game to the next level.
Well, and Height, they're talking about playing him not quite like Travis Hunter, but giving him snaps on offense and really utilizing him because he is, once he gets the ball on defense, he turns it around. And I think they're excited about having his capabilities on the offensive side. But yeah, I'm really excited to look at them against Charleston Southern, but really deeper in the year because they're going to have that 4-2-5 that they like to run. I think Clark has, allowed his defensive coordinator now to call the plays. But I asked him a couple of times, I said, are you still going to be, and you know how this is. They do the planning together. So it's not going to be a situation where he's not involved. I just think it helps him because there's so much that they're trying to do at a school like Vandy to keep raising money. They got a new facility or the updated facility. And because I used to go there and you could look out the Marriott stadium or Marriott and you see the stadium half empty or more of the opposing fans. Now I think you'll see more of their fans and you won't even be really able to see unless you're on top of the building because they've done a nice job with the structure and put up, they've done a really good job of giving themselves a better field for about 40,000 people. And I think that they're excited about that.
I just know this, Buck. I saw the Vegas win total for Vandy was 4.5. I'm going 4.5.
No, yeah.
I think I'm going over there.
I think I'm going over too. It's just going to be interesting to see. The first game will tell us, more about, hey, how they come out. You want to make sure guys come out healthy. Charleston Southern is going to put up a fight, but athlete for athlete, it shouldn't be close. And I think that's the one thing. But I saw that too, and I don't know. I can see more than 4 wins, but that's why we play it instead of do it on paper.
More with Charles Arbuckle in just a second, but first, guys, college football is back, and we cannot be more excited. The tailgates, the rivalries, the energy in the stands, there's nothing like it. But let's be real. Actually getting tickets to the game can feel more like a battle in the game itself. Endless queues, hidden fees, prices jumping up at checkout. That's why we use Game Time, the app that gives the advantage back to the fans. It's the easiest way to score last-minute tickets at the best prices with no surprise fees. What you see is what you pay. And look, pull up the Game Time app right now. You will, in just a couple taps, find all the amazing deals. I'm talking your favorite college football games as low as $25. And the app is going to make it super simple for you. You can even see your exact view from your seat before buying. That's one of my favorite parts. And honestly, it's just going to be faster, cheaper, and less stressful than any other way to buy tickets. Take the guesswork out of buying college football tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use our code LOCKEDONCollege, get $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, that is promo code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket. Go download Game Time today. Hey, guys, get back to Charles Arbuckle in just a second, but we have an important request. Locked On wants to hear from you. We've put together a survey to learn more about our listeners and make your favorite podcast even better. It's your chance to tell us what you like, what you don't, answer questions about our advertising. Go to lockedonpodcast.com/survey to get started. Everyone who completes a survey will be entered for a chance to win one of 10 $100 Amazon gift cards. Again, that's lockedonpodcast.com/survey. You can find the link in the show notes. Thanks for helping us out. Let me get your thoughts on some of the other games happening this weekend. A quick thought, Alabama at Florida State. Alabama comes in highly touted, a preseason top 10 team again. Ty Simpson now takes over at quarterback, but they got talent all over that team. Yeah. Man, any other year, Bug, this would be a preseason two top 25 teams. FSU coming off one of their worst years ever, but feels like we're going to see who Bama is this week.
I think so, and also what it does is it gives Bama, you see the combination of Kalen DeBoer and Ryan Grubb coming back together. Wherever Grubb has been, whether it's the NFL level, whether it's college, I mean, those years when Washington was really rolling, he was a key person there. So I think we're going to see a different Alabama team, and they're supposed to be loaded at receiver, which you and I know when Alabama has great receivers, their run game is going to be strong. I think defensively was where I was disappointed in Alabama more than anything last year. A lot of people talked about their offense. I want to see if defensively they made the corrections and made the changes. Sometimes I felt like they were playing like they were playing in the uniform, but they didn't play up to the uniform. And I want to see that this year out of that defense.
Yeah, it's even one of their big wins against Georgia. The defense kind of like, with all the turnovers, they still need to hold on for dear life. So, yeah, you want to see that more suffocating defense Bama's used to showing. Quick thought, Virginia Tech's playing South Carolina on Sunday. I mentioned it just because, man, Lenora Sellers, he is climbing up people's draft boards. It is all the hype train is aboard Lenora Sellers. What do you think of South Carolina?
Well, I'm excited about that, watching that game, because I actually have them next week, and I've kind of done some last year's film with Vandy and South Carolina. South Carolina they're excited in this area, living in Charlotte. I think Lenore Sellers is a really good player. They always have a weapon like a Debo Samuel or a Xavier Legette, or even going back to Sterling Sharp, a big receiver who's physical, and they're going to do that again. And I think what Beamer has done there is, from a recruiting standpoint, is really interesting to be now playing where his dad was a longtime coach, and Brent Pry. What can he do? Because they're going to have to turn it around this year. So I'm really excited about watching that game, because I don't know what I'm going to get out of Virginia Tech, but I do think I know what I'm going to get out of South Carolina.
Yeah, I got to interview Dylan Stewart this offseason, and future top 5 pick right there. That's a lock.
Yeah, man. That's the one thing about South Carolina. Just looking at them, Seth Strickland was on the staff with Steve Spurrier, and he's at Charleston Southern as the offensive coordinator, and he was just talking a lot about the defenses that they faced, Clowney and all the guys that they had during that time. He said we were on the second team deep offense, and Spurrier would let them come after us, but wouldn't let them do it on the first team offense. I said, yeah, I remember being there practicing. Clowney just was unblockable at times, and they had all those number 1 guys out of South Carolina. I think they're trying to get back to that.
Yeah, the reigning SEC Defensive Player of the Year is Darian Kennard, off to the NFL, but he was a stud last year. Let me get into the 2 big ones on Saturday. Let's start with Texas at Ohio State. Arch Mania is abound. Everybody aboard the Arch Manning train. I don't know, man. It's good. We got to see, started 2 games last year. He looked pretty good, but, man, this is going to be a hell of a test.
I think so, too. And I think what people need to realize is that Texas has to run the football better than they did in that championship or the playoff game against Ohio State. That's where Ohio State really will expose you if you're not able to run the football. And Texas is known to have, they got all those young guys that were hurt last year. They've got the other ones coming back this year. I think that's going to be critical for Arch, because Sark likes to do the play action pass, sluggo, all the different things that he can do, but it has to come off the run game. And if they're not moving the chains, it makes it much harder for Arch. Now, what they do have with Arch is his ability to run the football, and I think that's what we may see. On the other side, Ohio State, Julian saying, I'm wanting to see how well he can play, and then you think about his weapons on the outside. Martel Hight, Jeremiah Smith. I think you can just pick any year and say Ohio State has a bad, cold wide receiver. He's somebody that's just going to show up and make plays. And I think that's the one thing. They were able to take Jeremiah Smith away last year, Texas's defense. But I don't know if that's going to happen this year. I'm interested to see how well they're able to hold up against him and all the other weapons that Ohio State has.
Yeah, I think we need to get away from that 3-year rule. Jeremiah Smith could go play on Sunday right now. Let's just go ahead.
He came off the bus ready to play on Sunday. I mean, when you have Chris Carter saying that guy's better than, as good as I was or even better at that age, and he's not lying. It's true. And then you have Marvin Harrison Jr. before that. So, they have an embarrassment of riches. I'd love to be the offensive coordinator for them this year.
Yeah. NIL, though, it's making it worth their while. They're getting taken care of. One more for you, Buck. LSU headed to Clemson. We know about Brian Kelly. He has not been able to get that win in week 1. I've been at a lot of those games, and they've been right there against Florida State, against USC last year. Man, this is one that this is the toughest one they're going to have, but this is Brian Kelly's best team he has. Garrett Nussmeier, the lone 4,000-yard returning passer. If they're going to get it done, I mean, they got the talent.
The one thing I would say, too, is that Clemson has a really good team now, matching up with what Cade Klubnik didn't have when he was a freshman. So I'm really curious about that. But Nussmeier, I just was saying, I was so impressed with his ability to make plays with pressure coming from Vandy, and it looked easy. it looked like a pro guy out there playing against college players. Now, they got to him a couple times, but he never seemed to make a mistake where he was throwing the football in that game. And I think if you can have that against a Clemson defense, which is, I think, going to be very salty this year, and back to where they think they had those national championship Clemson teams, and they finally have some weapons on the outside. Cade Klubnik has really improved as a passer and a quarterback, and talk about athleticism. So I'm really curious. I don't always just look at the quarterbacks, but early in the year, you have to look at two big-time quarterbacks that are getting a lot of pub to see who's going to get their team over the top, because it's going to come down to one of those guys. And I'm really looking forward to see which one will step up in that true Death Valley matchup.
Right. and what a difference a year makes. Last year, LSU spent $5 million on the portal. This year, they spent $18 million.
Yeah.
I mean, you're paying for starters. That, Ole Miss did it last year. Didn't work out for them, but had a hell of a team. And I think that's what they're hoping to see from LSU.
I was teasing somebody. Me and one of the other guys that have played in the league, we were just saying, some guys are taking pay cuts. When they get to the league, they take a pay cut, especially if they don't get drafted high or are not a first-round pick. It's an uphill battle for them to climb through after they made, $1, $2, $3, $4 million a year in college. But I do think you're going to have to spend money, and it's going to be interesting to see how that develops. I do want to see when they're going to come up with the collective bargaining agreement. We have to figure out this free agency, because free agency all the time is not good for the game. But it would be good if we could have an understanding of where it could be locked in and make sure that it allows players to move when they're able to. And I'm not saying restrict that, but just I don't like the fact that they can just move so frequently and not have a true indication of them being a part of a program at all. And that's the part that I miss about college football.
Yeah, a young Charles Arbuckle would have been living large on UCLA's campus back in the day if NIL had been a thing, right?
Well, I grew up in Texas during the Southwest Conference battle, so, I won't say anything about that, but I will say, the good thing is they're trying to make the change, but if they don't make it fast enough, it's going to go back to the old days where under the table and the bagness show right back up. You know that.
Yeah, and good luck busting people on that. Charles, appreciate the time, man. Always good to talk with you, and you do a fantastic job. And for all our SEC fans out there, I'm sure they're going to see you somewhere along the way here, because you're always calling games across the SEC.
Well, it's crazy. I'm a UCLA guy, but I've been in this area, and I love SEC football. We at UCLA, we were never afraid to play anywhere. We go play anytime, anywhere, and you come see us. So first week I got Vandy, second week South Carolina, and the third week Mississippi State. So I'll say I'm an honorary SEC member for the next 3 weeks.
We love it, Buck. Always thanks. Appreciate the time, man. Thanks so much.
All right, take care.
Yo, SEC fans, are you still paying full price for gas? Stop leaving money behind. Get real cash back every time you fill up with the free Upside app. Simply download the free Upside app in the App Store or Google Play right now and start earning cash at the pump today. Use our limited promo code FOOTBALL. You get an extra 25 cents back per gallon on your first fill up. You can make up to $300 a year just from buying the gas you already needed. At first, you might think it's too good to be true, but it is totally legit. Real people are getting paid just to make their daily commutes, and you can too. Plus, you can cash out anytime to your bank account, PayPal, or e-gift card for Amazon and other brands. Don't let this offer drive on by. Download the free Upside app now using our limited time promo code FOOTBALL for a limited time, 25 cents per gallon bonus. That's promo code FOOTBALL. Offers vary by user and location. Go to upside.com for terms and conditions. Roll along here, Locked On SEC, in a new segment we are debuting this season, our Locked On SEC Celebrity Guest Picker segment. This will be every Friday here on Locked On SEC heading into the weekend. And for week one, without further ado, a guy who grew up in Augusta, Georgia, was a stud high school football player, Butler High School, was a prep star, All-American, considered one of the top tight end prospects in the nation, went on to play for the Florida Gators from 2000 to 2003, played for both Steve Spurrier and Ron Zook, finished with 64 career receptions, was a senior team captain in 2003, was named first all-team All-SEC, first team All-American, with honors from ESPN Rivals SI. He was a finalist for the John Mackey Award, part of the 2000 SEC championship team, selected in the second round of the 04 NFL Draft, pick 40th overall by the Tennessee Titans. Went on to become a sports talk radio host, a podcaster, an author. In addition to his nonprofit work he does, he is the one and only Ben Troop, and he joins us now. Ben, welcome in, man. How are you?
Chris, man, listen. If I ever need an introduction, my wife ain't gonna do it like that. I appreciate it. It's been too long. I'm happy to be the first celebrity guest picker of Chris Gordy and our Locked On SEC, man. Let's do it, man. Let's do it.
All right, so here's how it works, Ben. It's very simple. We're picking 7 games, no spreads. You're just picking straight up winners. Who you think is going to win the game? Feel free to give your thoughts on the game while you're making the pick. This will be real easy. You ready?
Let's do it.
All right, here we go. We're going to start with the game happening tonight, Friday night, 7 p.m. Central on Fox. It is Auburn at Baylor. A big game for Hugh Freeze, new quarterback Jackson Arnold. Who you got in this one?
Man, I think for me, it has to be Auburn. I'm going to pick Auburn for these 2 reasons. Number one, Hugh Freeze got to get off to a good start. And number 2, I think if you're talking about why this Auburn team has to get off to a good start, hasn't had a good record in conference play, you're going to need all the wins you can get. I'm not saying Baylor's going to lay down, but I think for Hugh Freeze and Auburn, they got to start off fast. I got the Auburn Tigers tonight.
Yeah, I think I'm going to take Auburn too. I just think that he's got to win this one, man. Even if it's close, even if it's ugly, find a way to win, Hugh Freeze. You got to have this one. All right, I'll throw you a bone on this one. 6 p.m. Central on ESPN Plus Saturday night. It's Long Island University taking on number 15 Florida, your alma mater, DJ Lagway. A lot of folks excited about him. I think I know who you're taking in this one, but we'll make a pick in it.
Oh man, I will say this. I'm picking my games. I don't like these lines. I know we're not getting into the lines. DJ Lagway is finally 100% healthy. Outside of making sure every student athlete at Florida get free Chipotle. Shout out to him and Walter Clayton Jr. It's not that Florida wins. It's how they win. Because you know how it is, Chris. Now I thought we was past the era of style points. I think this is going to be how it looks. Not that you get the win. I got my Gators in a big way. I want to see Dallas Wilson, man. I don't know how I want to see that young man. I heard a lot about him. Want to see this D line. Want to see this running game. Want to see this secondary. I got my Gators in a big way.
Yeah, I don't know. Dallas Wilson's been banged up. We'll see if he goes. Trey Wilson, I think he's a go. But yeah, look, I'm going Florida. They're the heavy favorite there by 45. I just put them in there because you went there. That's the only reason we put them in there as a pick. How about in the afternoon, 2:30 Central on ABC, Ben? It is number 8 Alabama at Florida State. A game Alabama's a heavy favorite. Look, any other year, Ben, this would be 2 top 25 teams. Florida State coming off of a rough year, but they hit the transfer portal. A lot of new pieces. Bama's got a couple injuries. Ty Simpson taking over at quarterback. Just straight up winner. Who are you taking, Alabama or FSU?
I'm going to take Alabama. I know that Florida State got a brand new quarterback that don't mind saying what's on his mind. Don't mind saying how, look, we're very, very confident. Mike Norvell is going to have a good showing because going back to a year, I guarantee you Florida State they're not leaving the country anytime soon. They're not going back to Ireland because they can easily blame it on what happened last year. But I think Alabama's it's going to be sluggish starting out. I think Alabama's going to find its rhythm. Coach DeBoer need 1 year to realize, yes, we're not allowed to talk about Nick Saban, but this is Alabama. And 9-3 is good for certain schools. Not at Alabama. I got Alabama running away with this thing in the second half.
I will take Alabama to win it as well. Yeah, you bring a good point. It feels like Mike Norvell forgot how to coach out there in Dublin, Ireland. Ever since that game, it has been a debacle for Florida State. Or really, I guess you go back to the bowl game against Georgia the year prior when their perfect season or their really good season got upended. How about 11 a.m. on ABC Saturday morning? It is Syracuse versus number 24 Tennessee. We get to see new Vols quarterback Joey Aguilar replacing Nico Iamaleava. I like Fran Brown a lot at Syracuse. They had a 10-win season last year, but I don't know. I still think you can't go against Josh Heupel. I'm going with Tennessee.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Tennessee as well. I do think them boys. I do think them Syracuse Orangemen. They're gonna make it a game. Coach Fran, he's made a team to where they're not gonna lay down for anybody. Listen, and I love Coach Fran, man. Paying for his son's tuition to open up another scholarship. That's how you do it, Coach. Listen, that is the Tennessee Orange. That's not Miami. Keeping those guys from making the college football playoff. Sluggish, but I think them Tennessee boys come out with a dub.
And we're aligned on a lot of these picks. I don't know if when we do the win-loss tally, we got to go opposite on some of these games here. We'll jump to Sunday real quick. 2 p.m. Central in Atlanta. It's Virginia Tech taking on number 13 South Carolina. Of course, Lenore Sellers brings in a lot of hype around him. I'm seeing some mock drafts already talking about him as a potential number 1 pick next year. Where are you on South Carolina against Virginia Tech?
I always like Virginia Tech week 1. But neutral sites, I'm going to go with Lenore Sellers. I think this guy is as good as advertised. I say this all the time. Any man that wears goggles or glasses underneath his helmet, that's somebody you can take very, very seriously in life and in football. I think South Carolina is on a mission. I think South Carolina is one of those teams that's saying, look, 9-3 last year, but nobody really talked about them. Nobody really said they focused on what they didn't do, not what they did. Atlanta, neutral site. Listen, giving them boys from Columbia to come out with a big win against a Virginia Tech team that's definitely going to play them tough.
I'm going to take South Carolina as well. I haven't studied Virginia Tech very much. I don't know a ton about them, but I know what South Carolina has. And the big key, they got Rasul Faison, their running back, deemed eligible. That is a man amongst boys. He is going to run for a ton of yards, and I think South Carolina wins. All right, the 2 behemoths, Ben. We're going to get into these at night, 6:30 Central on ABC. It is number 9 LSU at number 4 Clemson. Brian Kelly and LSU, they have had difficulty in these season openers. LSU's an underdog. Who you got?
The Battle of Death Valley, even though they're going to be in Clemson, this is the thing about LSU. LSU got Gus Nussmeier. I mean, obviously you talk about Cade Kublik over there with Clemson. When Clemson is good, when they're really, really good, they got a quarterback, and they got a quarterback. I'm going to take Clemson for 2 reasons. 1, they're at home. 2, Brian Kelly has done everything but win a season opener, right? Couldn't beat Florida State for a couple of years. I think it's going to be a good game. I think Nussmeier is a really, really good quarterback until he faces a quarterback just as good as him. How do I know? I got to see Nussmeier up close and personal last year in the Swamp. I'm not saying DJ Lagway was on his level as a freshman, but he outplayed him. A Klubnik, he's got a shot to be talked about like Lenore Sellers. Somebody got him, number 1, number 2, top 5 pick. Give me them boys from Clemson, and I guarantee y'all, Clemson will be wearing all orange. It's in their contract. They got to wear all orange. Give me the boys in all orange. Give me the Tigers from Clemson over the Tigers from LSU.
I'll go the other way. I'll go with LSU. I feel like Brian Kelly's got the best team he's ever had at LSU. They spent $18 million in the portal to build this roster. So it's put up or shut up time for me. Garrett Nussmeier, the only returning 4,000-yard passer from last season. Does he take that next step, right? We saw Joe Burrow. We saw Jaden Daniels. Does he take that monumental leap and become a Heisman contender at LSU? We will see. By the way, what was your record in Real Death Valley, Ben?
Oh, I was 2-0 in Death Valley. I went 3-1. I went 3-1 against LSU. Only time I lost in was my junior year. Ron Zook's first year in the Swamp. They beat us like we stole something. It was bad. But I went 3-1 against LSU. We were the only team to beat them in 2003. They had 1 loss on the record, and a guy by the name of, I don't know if you ever heard of him, Chris, 18-year-old by the name of Chris Leak, beat them in Death Valley. His first start on the road in the SEC.
Yep. And of course, if you're going to lose to anybody, losing to Nick Saban, the GOAT, right? It was a pretty good coach on the other side of the sidelines there. So, all right, last one for you here, Ben. At 11 a.m. Central on Fox, the marquee game. It is number 1 Texas at number 3 Ohio State. The Arch Manning era begins. Who are you taking?
There are games, Chris, that I can remember being great opening games. I don't remember one like this. Ohio State, Texas, week 1. I'm going to keep saying this. The best players in the world play on Sunday. The best variety of football happens on Saturday. That's the best variety you're going to get. This is the Arch Manning era. This is Coach Ryan Day finally saying, this is what it's like to put my feet up after a national championship. I just think Ohio State, this is going to be a good one. And while I think Arch Manning is going to be phenomenal, I gotta be able to see Steve Sarkisian be able to know what to do with talent. He's never gonna lack it. What does he do with talent? Jeremiah Smith is a man amongst boys out there. I think Ohio State finds a way to get this win, not because Ohio State is the better team. I think something about the SEC that people don't seem to like. We can call the other conference and all these different things. Nail biter. I think they force a young Arch Manning to make a mistake late. I think Ohio State comes out not going to give a score prediction. I think the Buckeyes, just like the Clemson guys being at home, I'm gonna go with the Buckeyes.
All right, I'll go the other side. I'll take Texas. We'll see if I think it's that defense. They were one of the best scoring defenses in all of college football last year. They just don't allow you to find in the end zone a ton. I think Texas and the defense find a way to get it done at Ohio State against the young Julian Sayin. Arch has at least started a couple games.
Yeah,
Julian Sayin, it's going to be a tough challenge for him. He is the great Ben Troop, our first celebrity guest picker here on Locked On SEC. Ben, let everybody know what you got going on, man.
Man, right now, Chris, I'm trying to be like you, sir. I guess I'm a podcaster, content creator. I got Winning the Division. That's an NFL podcast. I got The Fan in the End. That's an all sports podcast. I got No Weddings in the Fall. That's an NFL podcast. Obviously, I do mine. University of Florida, 84 Reasons, and soon to come, I Hate Lists, and that's what's going to be the name of the new podcast. Myself, BJ Bennett. You know how it is this time of the year, Chris. Everybody got a list, right? People like lists for one or two reasons. One, because you own it. Or two, you not on it, or the wrong people are on it. I'm not going to get these lists right, and I'm not going to get it wrong. Just be on the lookout for I Hate Lists. It's going to be a college-centric, kind of like a blast from the past type thing. Talk about fan bases, talk about players, talk about coaches, talk about moments. But all in all, I'm just enjoying this run, Chris, man. It's always a pleasure being on with you. Whoever comes after me, just know this. I'm probably going to get a lot of my picks wrong, but at the end of the year, just remember, Chris could have called anybody. Oh, look at Chris showing love, man.
We got the book. The book.
Definitely got the book, man. Uncommon Unfinished. Got another book on the way. I don't want to spoil it yet, but got another book on the way as well. Chris, man, it's always humbling. Outside of your introductions, love what you do, obviously, on Locked In on SEC. I think the thing about it is being a celebrity guest picker, man. When I go back, when I see the missus, I'm going to say, I'm a celebrity guest picker. She said, well, celebrity, go take that trash out, celebrity. All right, I'm going to go take it out. I'm going to do that. I can do that.
Ben, always good to catch up, man. Thanks so much for the time, man.
Appreciate it, Chris.
All right, that is going to do it for this edition of Locked On SEC. Thank you guys so much for making us your first listen every day. And hey, for your second listen, for your second watch, it's another big moment of Locked On college football fans. Locked On and Fire TV present the College Football Kickoff, your ultimate college football weekly preview. Drake Toll of Locked On Big 12 is leading the conversation alongside two-time AP Coach of the Year, Gary Patterson, and former college star Jesse Holley, and all of our Locked On college experts. Locked On College Football Preview, only Locked On can do. Catch College Football Kickoff every Thursday throughout the season, only on Fire TV. I'm Chris Gordy. You guys have a fantastic week one. We're going to be dropping some content throughout the weekend. Follow us on Locked On SEC on Twitter. Follow me on Twitter at Chris Gordy. And keep checking our YouTube page and the podcast channel for stuff dropping throughout the weekend. And on Monday, we'll have our winners and losers of the weekend. We'll talk to you guys then. Have a great weekend, everybody. Enjoy week one of the college football season 2025.